So you guys are always clamoring for a cool boa show. Well, guess what? I'm down here at Chase Baker's Texas Boa Exotic. He has one of the coolest boa collections on the planet, and this snake is absolutely stunning. Of course, this is a VPI ghost boa, which would be the VPI T-positive albino, a hypomelanistic, and an aneurystic boa. But just take a look at that animal. I mean, when you combine those three genes together, that thing just absolutely smokes. But trust me, he has a ton of cool stuff, and I'm about to show it to you. I tell you what, I am smoked by this snake right now. This thing is crazy. This is actually a hypolabby or labyrinth, and it actually originated from Jeff Rodney from Boaphile, and it's actually a codominant mutation, and the super form will essentially almost look like a crystal ball python, and they're calling it a crystal. So it's kind of a blue-eyed Lucy in a way, but nevertheless, this is a crazy mutation. Now, there's been a lot of boa mutations over the last 20 years. This is one of the newer ones that's out, and this is the first time I've actually personally been able to see one in person, and I'm telling you what, I am absolutely smoked. When you put that hypo to the labby, holy cow, that animal is gorgeous. This one is going to have a great future. Alright, so we saw the hypo labyrinth. I wanted to just show you guys what a real labyrinth is without the hypo gene, and essentially it's that patterning that happens here. And I'm assuming that the reason Jeff called them labbies is because there were labyrinth Burmese pythons that had kind of a similar pattern to it. Again, that labyrinth maze look. But even the normal labyrinth is really a truly incredible animal. And again, the thing that's so interesting about this mutation is not only the super form is incredible, or should be incredible, because there's only been one of them so far, but more importantly, the fact is that you can start breeding the labbies into all kinds of other mutations, and you never know how it's going to react. So there's a whole new seed of animals that's going to happen, tons of paint jobs over the next maybe 5, 6, 7, even 10 years that are going to stem from the labyrinth gene. Okay, guys. This right here is basically the dream snake when it comes to a boa. I don't know, forever, everyone always wanted a all-white leucistic boa constrictor, and this is basically it. This is actually the super form of a fire boa, and it's just solid white. And what's interesting, some of them actually start to get some freckles when they get older. I actually think it gives them a lot of character. So it's essentially a leucistic ball python, but it almost starts to look like a cow retic here and there, right? So regardless, Chase is one of the very few people that has actually been breeding these guys. So this is it. I mean, 10 years ago, this was the holy grail when it came to boa constrictors, and here I am holding it. Man, I tell you what, that is one awesome snake. So I showed you the white animal there. This is actually what the fire is. So again, it's a codominant mutation. So this would be the codominant. When you breed two of these together, you actually get the solid white snake. This guy's a little bit feisty, and typically boas are very rarely feisty like that. That's one of the things that makes them so incredible, is that they're really great animals, and really, when it comes to a pet snake, they're perfect. I always say, when you get into investment quality animals, what makes the best investment animal is also something that is going to be really easy and fun to keep. If an animal is too difficult to keep, it's going to be hard to keep a market value. Boa constrictors have been really amazing animals for ever since the start of keeping reptiles. This guy's a little feisty, but hey, listen, he's still a gorgeous animal, and again, this is the key to the all-white boa. Okay, so one of the things that goes on with the fire gene, much like a lot of codominant, say, in ball pythons, is that you'll get a little bit of distortion of patterning when you breed them into other things. This just happens to be a hypo fire, and it's just really, I mean, take a look at this crazy patterning here. It almost looks like those scoria boas where they have no patterning on the top and just kind of some striping down the sides. I mean, the fire gene really makes a lot of different impressions with other mutations. So again, much like the labyrinth gene, once you start breeding into more and more animals, you're going to start to see more and more variation. So not only does it produce a beautiful white snake, but it also produces some beautiful combinations just like this hypo fire. I'm here with Chase Baker, of course, from Texas Boa Exotics, and he's been so kind to bring us in and let us show is this amazing collection. Chase, what got you started? I mean, why snakes, and why were boas your first love, or what was that all about?
I started out with some corn snakes, and then from there it just went. I've seen the first albino boa inside of a pet shop, and then after that I got with a buddy of mine named Brad Willoughby, and from there he just taught me all the different genetics and stuff like that, and then expanded off into this.
So did you start, I mean, you had corn snakes, but then was boas your next love before you moved on to pythons?
So I did corns, and then I kept a couple ball pythons in between, then I completely got rid of them, and then I got into boas full time and just started messing with boas, built up a good collection of them, learned how to breed them very well, and then I started getting the ball pythons again from there and started to grow a collection of those as well.
Take me through the process of, like, you know, the first boas. I mean, did you just jump right in, or did you start slow?
Honestly, I kind of jumped right in. I seen the first albino, and I was just instantly, I have to make those. So I went and bought an albino male and a het albino female, and I just want to make an entire litter of those. And that was in probably 2006 or 2007, and ever since then it's just been growing. Tell
me about your Samboa obsession.
You know, they've, so honestly, the first time I ever got a Can Samboa was me and my girlfriend and drove all the way up to like an hour away to go pick up one, and ever since then I've just had a massive, I don't know, love for them, I guess.
Yeah.
Just, I can't stop thinking about them. I always wanted to work with them. I remember seeing the first litter of just the little babies that are just, you know, the size of a penny, and I want to make a ton of those.
I know, they're super, super cool. Is there another, I mean, so you've got boa constrictors, you've got ball pythons, now you've got Kenyan samboas. Is there another species, or are you capped? I mean,
carpet pythons.
Carpet pythons.
I really enjoy them. Small scale, nothing crazy, just a handful of really cool morphs I enjoy working with. I love the ghost jaguar stuff and stuff like that, so that's going to be my goal, to go with that stuff.
This is another example of the fire gene mixed into other mutations. This would be a motley fire, which again, the motley gene is a co-dominant animal, and the super form is completely patternless, but it looks completely different once it's in that fire gene. I mean, the orange that's coming through this animal is ridiculous. I mean, you don't see that with a normal motley, so the fire gene really makes a lot of changes, and not only with what we saw with the hypo, but certainly with the motley, and I'm sure it'll be the same thing with a lot of other mutations too, but regardless, it's a little bit of a squirrely animal, but it sure is beautiful. You know, I tell you what, boas to me are always amazing, but for whatever reason, I always have that one mutation that I really, really like, and the motley gene happens to be it for me. I mean, whether it's a sunglow motley, an albino motley, or in this case, it's an anery motley. Now, the anery is actually lacking the red pigment, and it makes it just kind of that more silver color, and takes all the yellows out and so on like that, and it really cleans it up a tremendous amount. So again, this is an anery motley. The anery is a recessive mutation, and the motley is a co-dominant mutation, but that just makes for one gorgeous animal. One of the things I really love is showing off new projects that are kind of fresh still. The fire's been around a little while, but it's still pretty fresh, and of course the labyrinths are something that's really new. Well, this is another project that's really cool, and this is the Marin project. Now, I've worked with the blood boas, which are the Central American ones. This is a similar mutation than that. So this is a co-dominant, and you can see it's just a lot more pink. The pattern's a little bit goofy, but when you breed them together and get the super form, you essentially get something that looks really similar to the blood boas in the Central American, but in this case it's the Colombian, so it's really a beautiful animal. So the super Marins are really awesome. This is a really awesome project. I just wanted to give you guys an example of one of the mutations of the Marins. This would be a hypo Marin. So again, that's a double co-dominant animal, the hypo and the Marin both being co-dominant. And you can see it's a really pretty snake. Alright, so we've been talking about boa constrictors like crazy, but Chase really loves a boa that I'm interested in and have been working with for probably 25 years. And of course, that would be the pint-sized boa, and that's the Kenyan samboas. But he's starting to get into these, and I am super excited that he loves these animals, because as much as I love boa constrictors, I've just always been fascinated with samboas. And of course, this is a little albino Kenyan samboa, and these guys have been around for probably 15 or 18 years. The first ones came in, the VPI brought some in, and Mark Bell brought some in and proved them out recessive. Now, there's always been anuthricics as well, which is the opposite of albino, and they're lacking the yellow and red pigments, but when you breed the anurithristic and the albino together, you get the snow boas, they're snow samboas. So this is the double recessive mutation. Now, just to give you an idea, what that means is that if you bred an albino and you bred an anurithristic, you're going to produce normal looking babies that would be double heterozygous for both anurithristic and albino, and the double recessive mutation, of course, is the snow boa, and it's a 9:3:3:1 ratio, which basically just means that out of 16 babies, only one of them on average is going to be the snow boa. So you can see why it's a little bit rare, and once you get it, it will breed true. So if you breed two snow boas together, you'll produce all snow sand boas, or if you breed a snow sand boa to an albino het for snow, you'll get half and so on like that. I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but regardless, it's a really cool animal. And of course, just a regular Kenyan sand boa is really gorgeous, and this one is really amazing here. They just are so beautiful with all those orange colors, and there's all kinds of things. There's like flames, and there's a bunch of different mutations, splash Kenyans. So Kenyan sand boas, I've always thought were one of the kind of pocket-sized boas. So if you're interested in boas, but you don't really think that you're ready for a boa constrictor, something bigger, a Kenyan sand boa or other sand boas may be a great option, but the Kenyans have the best amount of mutations. So I just love Kenyan sand boas. And just to give you an idea what they look like as a baby, look at this cute little monkey right here. Look at how cute they are. This is the aneurystheristic Kenyan sand boa that I was telling you about earlier, bred to produce the snows. But look at how cute they are as babies. And a Kenyan sand boa, you know, an adult female can have up to 30 or 35 babies, even though an average female is going to have anywhere from 12 to 15 babies. Regardless, Kenyan sand boas are awesome. Let's move on to a couple ball pythons. Just like with the boas, Chase is really doing some amazing things with ball pythons. And this is a mutation that hardly anyone is working with, and it's really interesting. It's called the atomic gene. Now, what's interesting about the atomic gene is that it's a recessive mutation, but it actually splits up things like different mutations. So essentially, it's a recessive paradoxing type of an animal. So if you had a spider atomic, you would essentially have an animal that was partially spider and partially normal, and it would go the same way if it was a pinstripe or an albino or whatever the case may be. So you can actually make a genetic paradoxing animal. And the atomic is really the only one in ball pythons that is genetically paradoxed. We see stuff like the party ball python and other ball pythons that are really interesting, but they're one-off, so you can't reproduce them. They're really awesome looking, but it's just one animal. This is the key to making more of that paradoxing where it's actually genetic. So the atomic gene is definitely a big up-and-comer, and I can't wait to see what Chase is going to do with it. So I wanted to show you an example of a paradoxing animal when we were talking about the atomic. This would be a paradox banana, and again, what it basically does is some of that normal pattern just kind of breaks through. Normally, a banana would just look like this, or a coral glow would look just like this, but of course the paradoxing, you have that normal color breaking through that makes it so incredible. But sadly, this wouldn't be reproducible in this form, most likely, unless some new mutation just popped up. But with the atomic gene, you can actually make stuff like this. Nevertheless, even if this isn't reproducible, this is a great animal to have because it is absolutely breathtaking. But there's another animal that's really breathtaking here as well, and that would be a cinnamon nuclear spinner. So the cinnamon gene is codominant. Then of course you have the fire and lesser or butter gene that's codominant, and then you also have a pinstripe and a spider that's incomplete dominant. So this is a 5-bang animal, but man, that thing is absolutely gorgeous. And lastly, when it comes to ball pythons, I want to show you a project that Chase is really excited about, and I'm certainly excited about for him. This is actually a kingspin, which would be a lesser spider pinstripe, but it's also a scaleless head female, and she is about to be gravid. She's got really big follicles, and she's going to ovulate really soon. I believe there's 7 or 8 eggs in there, and it's bred to a fire scaleless head. So his odds are that he's going to produce maybe a couple scaleless animals, fully scaleless animals, and then there could be a whole host of mutations, anywhere from fire to spider to pinstripe to lesser and combinations thereof. So that's a really beautiful clutch. I tell you, I love the scaleless stuff, and I can't wait to see what this girl potentially produces. So guys, I tell you what, it's been amazing to spend time with Chase and all his crazy cool animals. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Before I say goodbye to him, I certainly want you guys to go down in the description and follow all his social media, his website, anything else that you possibly can do. He's a great guy. If you're looking for animals like boas or even ball pythons, he's certainly got an amazing collection. I can vouch for the incredible animals here. So give him a follow for me, please. Is there something next, or are you just happy where you're at?
We'll keep expanding just a little bit, but nothing too major. We'll stick to about right where the size we are and just mainly focus on producing leucistic boas and then VPI combos of some sort. That's mainly our focus, honestly, over the next couple of years, and then just keep the ball pythons right about where they are and just try to expand into different things that other people like. I like to work with variety, so just to give something different on my table, whether it be the carpets, Kenyan sand boas, or whatever it may be from there. So.
All right, so if you guys happen to be in the Chicago area or down in Texas, you can see Chase as well. And as always, guys, I'm Facebook and tweeting and Instagramming my way through things. So make sure to follow me over at SnakeBitesTV. Until next week, from me and Chase and all these amazing animals, you've been watching Snake Bite.
When I'm around you.